Hey guys, I just want to share how you can be on one time frame or one tick chart, and you can discover where the trend is. A lot of people like to do the top-down analysis, weekly, daily, out, 4 hour, 1 hour. You can find the trend on any frame, 1 minute, 30 seconds, 5 minute. The way I find the trend is basically how a trend is defined. It's where prices, make lower lows. In other words, the price is going lower, and then it comes back and makes a lower high. That's a lower high. That's a lower high, and then it makes a lower low, and then it makes a lower high. It actually makes a higher high over here because it takes out that swing. A higher high, and then it makes a higher low, and then a higher high, and then a higher low, and then a higher high, and then a higher low. And then over here it doesn't make a higher high, and then it makes a lower low, and it makes a lower high, but doesn't make a lower low, and then it makes a higher high, and a higher low, and a higher high, then it makes a lower low, and a lower high. This here is one of my favorite patterns. This is basically a head and shoulders pattern. There's the left shoulder, there's the head, and there's the right shoulder. And to me, it's one of the best patterns. I'll tell you why. Okay, this green line is where this is the E-mini, the Dow. Okay, I usually trade the Nasdaq, but I wanted to get a clean chart with no lines or anything on it because I also use market profile. But you don't need market profile to determine the trends. And basically, even with the market profile, it's just levels of volume where I'm looking for these particular setups. And to try and scalp a 4 hour chart, I mean, really? I mean, that's the most ridiculous thing I've ever heard of. And here's another thing. I've done some research and looked at all the posts. If you notice that on Trading Made Simple, I was the first guy who posted when he first started his trade. And I asked him the question because he was saying, Craig Stochastic is the bomb. And you know, when a guy jumps from system to system, of course he's going to give you the correct answer so that everybody gets appeased. But there was one time he tried to show somebody a live trade, and he says, "I'm not going to do that anymore. I lost 30 ticks twice, trying to mark up the chart." Well, if you're trading a 4 hour chart, all you got to do is hit print screen, and you can do the chart thing later. In 4 hours, it takes a long time. To me, that's bogus. If you're gonna, tout a great system with all of these rules, and you ain't gonna show any profit. If you notice on all my charts, you see this thing called DPL? That's daily profit and loss, and you always see my number here on every single day that I post these trades. Okay? If you don't see a guy posting that, I don't want to see no TEs. I don't want to see, anything that has to do with MetaTrader showing me I made profit. I trade the futures market. And that's a real market. There's no real market in forex. Okay, that's why they're called market makers. The brokers are making you a market based on fictional prices because the euro dollar is traded in the futures, and they're making you a market based on that price. So when you think you're getting a great spread of, say, a half a pip, well, it's a half a pip based on where the price is. So you end up being really 3 or 4 pips, maybe 5 pips is your spread, even though you only have to pay for a half. But nonetheless, every time you use those indicators, it's going to get you in late. You're going to be getting in over here, looking to go short, and it goes. That's why it's always going the other way. As soon as you get in, yeah, of course you'll have the occasion where the market is just selling off, and you get in down here. Well, wouldn't you rather get in up here? So let me show you what I'm talking about here. All right. So this is, again, doesn't matter what instrument you're using. Let me just get that out of the way. a trend is determined by prices going higher and then on the corrections not going lower than when it started. So for instance, we made a higher high, and right over here it made a higher low. Then it made a higher high here and a higher low right over here under this guy. Okay? And then it tries to take out the high, but it stops here. That becomes the higher low. So when this point over here gets taken out, the trend is changed. Okay? That's the structure of the market. So now look what you got over here. You got what's called a 1 for the higher high, 2, which is the higher low, and 3, which is not a higher high. And then we get this big thrust bar down, which is giving you the information. And I would take the pullback to here, but in this case, unfortunately, it didn't trigger. Okay, what am I on anyway here? I'm on a 512 tick chart. Okay, and I don't trade over here anyway. This is the overnight, that stuff. But I'm just showing you to show you what it looks like. So we made a lower low and a lower high, but not a lower low. Couldn't go any more. So that's telling you there's no more sellers. And once this area over here, let me just point it out to you. On the end of a trend, there's 1, there's 2, and here's 3. That's a lower low, obviously. That's a lower high. For this not to be a lower high, the price would have to go all the way up to there and take out this high. And then over here, it tries to come back and make a new low, but it doesn't. And once that happens, if you notice all the time, most of the time, you're going to see a big thrust bar zapping up there. Okay? So it goes up to the market here, and makes a higher high here, and a higher low here. And then a higher high. This is what I call the 2B formation. And it actually is going to, form what I call a hat. So here's a line here, one over here. So once this area over here gets taken out, you have you had a 1, 2, 3 until it took it out. Then it comes down over here, and I'm taking a pullback right there, right at the 1 point. If it was a 1, 2, 3, you take it over here, but you got a 2B, and it's going to come back to this area here, and here's your hat. It's a cowboy hat, little slant over there. So he comes over here, and there's the big slaughter, and then price makes a lower low, and your stops are going to be really, right above this guy here. So you got a small stop. So what do we got there? 34, 10 ticks. I'm sure you've had a 10 tick stop before. Okay? And price goes down, and here's where you get 2 setups here. You get this 1, 2, 3, because it makes a lower low and a lower high, but not a lower low. Same thing. Once it takes out this area, the trend is changed. But you already know where the sellers are. They're right over here, because there's your 1, 2, 3. The sellers are right there. See, there's your 3 point. There's your engulfing candle, thrust bar down. And I'd be looking to buy, like right over here, and get out of the trade, because that's where the buyers came into the market. See, you would take it from you get the pullback here. Here's where you're going to take profit, and you can take profit, and you can actually go the other way here. It doesn't look very profitable. Got a stop down here of 96. What was it? 960. You're in at 976. To me, that's too big. I wouldn't have taken this. I like to have 10 tick stop or less. If it's going to be that, I let it go. I just let it go. But that's where I'll take my profit though. And so right over here, you're getting in at 22, and you're looking at about 25 ticks. Is that right? Am I reading the numbers right here? Zero. Okay, 22. Okay, 26,022 to 25,000. Oh, my mistake. It's 22 and 24. That's 40. That's 46 ticks with a 10 tick stop. And so now we made a. And you also got this 1, 2, 3 over here. Another 1, 2, 3, and it shoots down, and you make a lower low. And here's where I'm going to take my another order to sell right over here. And depending on where you got your stop, if you're getting it over here and I have a 10 tick stop, let's see, getting it at 980, so 990 is going to be my stop, and I would have been stopped out. I would have lost 10. Happens. But meanwhile, you're getting all of this and you lose 10. You know, and yeah. So pretty much that's showing you how I find the how you get your trends. Is higher high, then it makes a lower low, then a lower high, then a lower low, lower high, lower low, not a low high, not a lower low, then higher high, then higher low, but not a higher high, and again follow the sequence all the way down. And you could have got back in on this trade, after it does all of that, because it just nips you out, but not by a whole bunch. 98. So that's 80. It nips you out by 4 ticks. So, okay, guys, that's it.